Hello, I'm Pastor Mike serving Ascension Lutheran Church, Wichita, Kansas. Diane and I have been on vacation the last couple of weeks, which explains why there were no video devotions from me. I wanted to let you know that I was going to be gone, but that's inadvisable to do in this world of social media where ne'er-do-wells can easily learn that you are away from your home and do mischief. We enjoyed some peace and solitude in the higher elevations of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains of southern Colorado. We hiked some trail every day, the Dyke Trail, the Dodgton Trail, the Indian Creek Trail, the Bear Lake Trail, even an unnamed trail up to a burned area of the Isabel National Forest. We enjoyed an impromptu Independence Day parade in the small town of Cuchara, Colorado. It was quite patriotic and entertaining. We even explored a strange medieval-style castle near Greenhorn Mountain, a must-see but only one time. The days were in the low 70s, the nights were in the low 50s, we watched no TV, the internet was frustratingly slow. Cell service was poor. It was wonderful. The time with each other, reading books, setting puzzles, enjoying coffee in the crisp, clean air of high mountains. It was just wonderful. Obviously, I'm back in the office working, planning and preparing for the next couple weeks as my colleagues take their vacations and Vicar Zach heads back to the seminary for his final year of schooling. One day, Friday, July 3rd, Diane and I decided to take a longer hike. We hiked the West Spanish Peak Trail. It started at an elevation of 9,500 feet above sea level, and we stopped about 12,500 feet. We were way above the tree line. The tree line is an interesting phenomenon. The tree line begins at an elevation of about 1,100 feet in that area. Do you know why there is a tree line? Many people assume it's because of the thin air. And believe me, the air is thin. Diane and I were breathing pretty hard as we walked up the steep paths and scampered over the talus. But it's not due to the thin air, the trees not having enough carbon dioxide and oxygen to grow. The tree line has to do more with temperature, wind, moisture, rather than the density of the air. And in the case of the West Spanish Peaks, the tree line is where the soil stops and a deep layer of granitic talus begins. From this vantage point above the tree line, you can see for miles and miles. You can see the ridge of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. You can see the Cuchara Valley, the small mountains you thought were big when you were on the valley floor. You can see small towns and villages that dot the landscape. And you can see the high plains to the east, spread out before you all the way to the horizon. There is the old adage of not being able to see the forest for the trees, focusing on the small individual things rather than the whole. Above the tree line, you can see the whole forest. There's a lesson here. A similar phenomenon happens to us when we are in the midst of trials and troubles. We get focused on the troubles, the latest crisis, the most recent setback. We fail to notice the big picture. Sometimes the mundane tasks of everyday life keep us so busy, we don't notice what's going on in our very own family. Then suddenly we are furloughed or told to work from home. It upsets our routine, and admittedly, there is security in routine. Then one day it hits us. We notice those things we were previously too busy to see. We notice that in the midst of an altered routine, the family is becoming more cohesive, working together, doing their part. Relationships are growing deeper and stronger. Communication is becoming clearer and more open, rather than the superficial, "How are you?" "Good." Then we ask ourselves, is life about work Or is life about family and relationships? To be sure, we need work to support the family, but that statement already tells you what is most important. Keeping the bigger picture in mind helps us endure. This is even more true when it comes to our faith relationship with God. St. Paul says in Romans 8, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." What we are experiencing in this life should not distract us from the prize of heaven. The more we focus on our problems, the smaller Jesus gets. The more we focus on Jesus, the smaller our problems get. Through faith, we know God is in control of this world. If the world is in God's hands, then so are we. And as St. Paul also says, nothing can snatch us out of God's hands. That is God's promise to us. The knowledge that comes through faith helps us to see the beauty of the forest of life among the trees of everyday living. Where there once was the scar of getting burned, a beautiful meadow now has appeared. Where there once was the scar of a burned relationship, there is a heart open and receptive to the needs of others. I to the hills lift up my eyes. From whence does my help come? It comes from the Lord, the Creator, who has the whole world in His hands. God bless and make it a great day.